What page is this on?
210.
Page 210. Okay. All right, so let's... Miss Adams, would you erase another point for me, please? So, this last section is all about word problems. I know some of you don't care for those, but I'll go over each one of these and at least get you set up on how to do it here. The very first example, let me just show you. It says for 3 months, a fifth grade class raised money for charities. And it says if the class divides the money equally among 32 different organizations, how many dollars would each organization receive? Well, here's the funds that are raised. You've got September, October, November, and they tell you how much each one raised. So how would you figure out how much money each organization would get? I see one hand up. Go ahead and, where's my, there they are. No, you want to drop your hand there? Okay, Miss Geese is not here today. Mr. Hinkle. So let me ask you, how would you figure out how much money each organization would get? There was 32 organizations. What would you do? You can see how much money each group made each month, and you have to divide that up evenly into 32 organizations. How would you do that? Mr. Hollenbach.
You would add them up and divide.
Yeah, you just add them up and divide. And if you look down a little bit further, that's exactly what they do. They added up all three, okay? And then you're going to divide it by 32, which is what they do here, and you get 203. And so each organization would receive $203. All right, kind of a no-brainer. I'm not worried about the convince me. You can cross that out. I'm going to turn down my music here, but it gets kind of loud. This song likes to increase in volume as time goes on here. Let's go down to the guided practice. This is the first one that I'll expect you guys to do, but I will help you set it up just to get you going. It says Dana or Dana, whatever her name is, she starts with 875 stamps. A lot of stamps in her collection. And then her grandparents give her 332 stamps. And then she buys 72 more. Now here's the question they ask. It says, how many pages in her scrapbook can she fill? Well, before we can figure that out, how do you tell how many stamps can go on a page in her scrapbook?
Look right there.
It's right where?
Right there.
Yeah, they give it to you right there. It's not in the paragraph that you just read, but they do give you the information right there. There's 24 stamps on a page. Well, this is really similar to the example they just did, or they gave us a couple minutes ago. How would you figure this out? Is that, are you raising your hand there, honey, or no? Okay. How would you figure it out? Yeah, Ms. Adams?
You would add 875 plus 332, then 72, and then you would divide that by 24.
Yep. You're going to add those three up and then divide it by 24. So for number one, it says, what do you know? Well, you can answer that. What do you know? Well, they tell us all kinds of things here. So you guys should be able to write that down. You know, how many stamps she has, and that there's 24 stamps. You can fit 24 stamps on a page. And then it says, what are you trying to find? Well, that's really easy. What are you trying to find? They ask us the question right there. All right, so you can just copy the question down. And then number three, it says, how are the quantities related? Well, I'm not quite sure how they would want you to answer that. Then it says, what is the answer to the problem? How are the quantities related? I'm not really sure. I mean, that's just such an odd question. I'm not worried about that. I mean, they're all related because they're all talking about stamps.
Can you cross it out?
Yeah, if I cross it out, you can cross it out. And then it says, what is the answer to the problem? Well, you're going to have to add those quantities up and then divide them by, as somebody said, Mr. Hollenbach, I think it was 24. Then it says write the equations to model your work. Well, what's the equation? It would look something like this: 875 plus 332 plus 72. Okay. And then I would put that in parentheses and then divide that by 24. Now, in order of operations, remember, you would always do what's in parentheses first. So that's why I put it in parentheses. You would add up those numbers, and then you would divide by 24, okay? Okay, so that's the first one set up for you. Now, the independent practice, let's take a look at that one. Tanya is saving for a vacation, okay? And she wants to have $75 a day for the 12 days of her trip. So let's say she's going to Italy, and she wants to be able to spend $75 a day in Italy. And she's going to be there 12 days. And then it says if she saves $85 each month for 10 months, will she save enough money? Well, first off, we need to figure out how much money she's going to need. Then we can figure out if she has enough. So my question is, and I'll give you guys just a moment to think about it, how do we figure out first off how much money she needs to have for her trip to Italy? Okay? How much money does she need to have for her trip to Italy? Mr. Hollenbach already answered a question, so I'm not going to ask him. And Mr. Delgado is not here. Mr. Cosgrove is, though. Mr. Cosgrove, what do you think? How much money is she going to need? All right. How would you figure that out? How much money is she going to need?
Add it all up.
Okay, you could add or multiply, but what are you adding or multiplying together?
85, 70, 75.
No, nice try. Not quite. Mr. Kamisa's not here. I want to put those sticks aside so I don't pull them again later. And Miss Ugisa's not here. I pull her stick. Okay. Mr. Fall, how would you figure out how much money she needs? First.
75 times 12?
Yeah, exactly. Needs. I'm going to write that down. 75 times 12 equals, and I'll put a question mark. That's how much money she needs. She wants to have enough, she wants to have $75 a day, and she's gone for 12 days in Italy. Now, it says if she saves $85 a month for 10 months, will she save enough money? Well, so then I'll put will have 85 times 10. That's easy, 850, right? So she's going to have $850, but we don't know if that's going to be enough because we haven't done 75 times 12. Number 4, it says use the strategy of mental math to find the total amount she will save. Well, we just did that. I just did that, okay? And I'll just go ahead and put that down. I'll put down $850. And then it says, then write a division equation to see if she will save enough. Write a division equation. Well, so what they're asking you to do is to see how many times, if she's going to spend $75 a day, how many times 75 will go into 850? When they're talking about a division problem, it's that. And so I've done that now for you. At least I've set it up, 850 divided by 75. That's one way to do it. I actually think, for me, it'd be easier just to multiply 75 times 12 and see how that compares to 850. All right, that's the way I would do it, but they're asking you to do it a division way. And then it says, what is that, George, I guess? says you can solve this problem a different way. He says that you can compare 75 times 10 and 75 times 12. Do you agree? Yes.
That's what I do.
Say again.
That's what I do.
That's the way I would do it too. Do you agree? Explain your thinking. Yes, because, and I'll even write this down. You can compare the totals and see if, who was it, Tanya, see if she has enough money. So I've kind of done a fair amount of that for you. You'll still have to do number 4, okay? And then problem solving, the last word problem for you guys to do, pumpkin patch farms. Okay, here we go. It says the table shows the number of seeds the owners of the pumpkin patch farms receive from the different suppliers or seed suppliers. And I'm gonna, before I forget here, I'm gonna change to a highlighter. And I'll use that. Okay. It says each of the pumpkins they harvest usually weighs between 10 and 12 pounds. And you guys listen to this now. There are 60 rows, and the farmers will plant the same number of seeds in each row. How many seeds will they plant in each row? Wow. A lot of information there. There is some information you don't need. What information don't you need in there? Mr. Graham, what do you think?
10 and 12 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. You don't need the 10 and the 12 pounds. So just scratch that out. Who cares how much they weigh? That's not what they're asking. All right? It's unnecessary. Don't need it. All right, how many seeds will they plant in each row? Well, it's similar to the kinds of the last 2 problems we were doing in the example. You're going to be adding something up, and I'll let you guys figure that one out. And then it says, what do you know? What are you trying to find for number 6 here? So for number 6, what do you know? Well, you can briefly rewrite some of the information that's up above in that paragraph, or you could also mention the number of seeds that they have, okay? And then it says, what are you trying to find? Well, what are you trying to find? It says, how many seeds? Go back to the highlighter here. If I do this. I think that'll work. What are you trying to find? You're trying to find, let's see here, how many seeds will they plant in each row? That's what you're trying to find. So you just write that down. And then number 7, it says, how are the quantities in the problem related? I still think that's kind of an odd question. I mean, we're talking about seeds here. So how are they related? They're all seeds. What are the steps needed to solve the problem? We're going to be adding up the number of seeds from each supplier. And then it says, write the equations with variables to represent the steps needed to solve the problem. So variables, you're going to be throwing in a letter in the equation. So let me give you an example here. So I'm gonna write down S equals seeds planted. Or S could be total number of seeds. Either one. So the equation could be S, there's my variable, equals 1,220 plus 750 plus 1,450. There's my equation with a variable. And then it says solve the equation and answer the question. Well, solve the equation. And then what strategy can you use to check to see if your answer makes sense? Well, you could estimate. I'm going to write that down here. Estimate. So 1,200 roughly. How about if I just call it 1,000? 750. Well, I can just call it, how about 800? And then 1,450, I could call that 1,500. And I could add those three up. And then divided by 50. Thank you for doing that. Okay. So estimate, and I would just do something simple like that. Add 1,000 plus 1,500 plus 800 and divide that by 50. And you'll get a number that's kind of close to what the answer would be. And if you're off by quite a bit, then you know you've probably made a mistake. Questions on this, you guys? Yeah, no, hand kind of bobbed up and down. Change your mind? No questions? Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm going to end this.